solving linear equations involving decimals. Let's take a look at a decimal, 0.1. Let's remember what happens when I take 0.1 and I multiply it by 10. Well, if we remember from long ago when we first were introduced to decimals, when I multiply by a power of 10, I simply move the decimal place over however many decimals I need to. In this case, multiplying by 10 means I move the decimal to the right one place. So 0.1 times 10 is 1. 0.1 times 100, well, this is 10 to the power of 2, which means I put the decimal 1 2 places over. So 0.1 times 100 is 10, etc. 0.1 times 1,000 would be 3 places. 1, 2, 3, or 100. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and do an example of a linear equation that involves some decimal numbers. How about 0.06, x will be my variable, plus 0.0915 minus x equals 0.07 times 15. Okay. Notice I have 3 decimals. Our goal here is to get rid of the decimals. So we have to think, what power of 10 do I multiply each of these decimals by to get rid of them? Or in other words, how can I move this decimal place 2 places over? Now remember, when I multiplied in our previous example, when I multiplied 0.1 by 100, it moved the decimal place 2 places over. So the way I move these over is to multiply each term by 100. So I'll go ahead and do that. Now, when I multiply this first term by 100, I simply move the decimal place over 2 places, and I get 6x. Again, when I multiply this term, I move the decimal 2 places over, and I get 9. And the same over here. I get 7. Now notice, my linear equation is now much simpler because I got rid of the decimals. Now it's a matter of distributing and trying to solve. So let's use the distributive property here. 9 times 15 is 135. And 7 times 15 is 105. And now let's go ahead and combine our x's. Let's see, 6x and a minus 9x is negative 3x. And then let's see, I want to solve for x. So how about if we keep these x's on this side of the equation? I'll move the 135 over by subtracting on both sides. So on the left, I get negative 3x. On the right, that would be a negative 30. We're almost done. We can divide now by negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is a positive 1x equals 10. And of course, we could also write it, our solution, as 10. Okay. Let's try one more. Point 1 times x minus 2 plus 0.02 times 3 minus x equals 0.01 times 5. Now, here I need to move this decimal at least 1 place over. Here I need to move this one 2 places over, and here 2 places over. So, in order to move all the decimal places to the appropriate spot, I'm going to need to multiply everything by 100. Now, if I multiply everything by 10, I would get rid of this decimal, but I would still have a decimal here. So I'm going to have to multiply each term by 100. Now, I'm just going to do that here. Multiplying this term by 100 moves my decimal over 2 spots, so I get a 10 here. Multiplying this by 100 moves it 2 over. It just gives me a 2. And multiplying this one by 100 gets rid of the decimal and gives me a 1. Now we'll do the distributive property. Distribute the 10 through this parenthesis gives me 10x minus 20. Distribute the 2 gives me 6 minus 2x is equal to 5. We'll combine like terms. See, those are like. Negative 14. And notice that each successive step, the problem gets easier and easier. Now we'll add 14 to both sides because we want to keep the x's on one side of the equation. So these cancel, and I'm left with 8x on one side is equal to 19 on the other. And now simply divide both sides by 8. 8's cancel, and I get x equals 19/8, or the solution set is just the element 19/8.